The Tapestry We Wove, a story of the Kims. The story of our family does not begin with a dramatic headline. It simmers, instead, in the quiet, steam-fogged kitchen of my grandparents' sole apartment, in the scent of garlic and sesame oil that clung to my father's work shirts, and in the careful, stubborn silence of my mother's hands as she folded laundry. But if you had to find a crack in the universe, a moment where the light shifted and a new pattern began to form, it would be the day my aunt Soo Jin was left at the altar. I was 9. The details I understood were child-sized: the white dress like a frosted cake, the hushed, frantic phone calls that made the air feel thick, the way my usually unflappable Halmione, grandmother, kept wiping her already spotless countertop, her knuckles white. My father, Soo Jin's older brother, had paced the living room like a caged tiger, his jaw a hard line. The groom, a man with a too-easy laugh I never liked, had simply vanished. The story that trickled down to me through whispered kitchen conferences between my mother and aunts was of cold feet and a colder bank account. His family's, not ours. We were comfortable, but we were not that. The fallout was a silent, heavy snow inside our home. Soo Jin, my vibrant, paint-splattered aunt who taught me how to mix colors to make the perfect sky blue, retreated into her childhood bedroom and pulled a metaphorical curtain. My grandfather, Haraboji, sat in his armchair by the window, staring at the bustling street below, saying nothing for a whole day, which was louder than any shout. And then, my father's older brother, my Uncle Min-jun, arrived. Uncle Min-jun was the family constellation we all orbited, but from a distance. He was the millionaire brother, not from inheritance, but from a ruthless, brilliant focus that had taken him to Silicon Valley. His visits were meteoric: expensive gifts, talk of IPOs and venture capital that made my engineer father's eyes glaze over, and a subtle, unspoken tension that vibrated beneath the surface of every polite conversation. He was success, but he was also absence. When he walked into the tension-strung apartment that evening, he didn't come with fanfare. He carried a simple paper bag. He nodded to my parents, placed a hand on Haraboji's shoulder, a touch that made the old man finally look up and blink, and went straight to Soo Jin's door. He didn't knock. He just said, softly, "Surya, it's Oppa. I brought Hotek." Hotek, the cheap, sweet street pancake filled with molten brown sugar and nuts, their secret from when they were kids, and he would sneak her a treat after a scolding. The door opened a crack. He didn't go in to comfort her in the way the sensational headline might suggest. He didn't sweep her off to a new life. He simply sat on the floor of the living room with her, still in his impeccably tailored suit, and they ate the sticky, messy Hotek straight from the paper, letting the sugar burn their tongues. He didn't offer platitudes. He said, "He was an idiot. His loss is the universe's gain to someone else. Now your nose is running. Here's a napkin." It wasn't a romantic beginning, it was a familial re-beginning. That small, sweet, shared act was the first thread pulled in the mending of our tapestry. Uncle Min-jun didn't leave. He remotely managed his empire from Haraboji's old study for a week, then 2. His presence became not a spectacle, but a quiet recalibration of our daily rhythms. He noticed things. He saw my father's weary slump when he came home from the plant, and the next evening, without a word, he had a 6-pack of cold beer and a bowl of salted peanuts waiting on the balcony. They didn't talk business, they talked baseball, the futile, frustrating love of our city's team. I'd peek through the curtain and see them, shoulders touching, their laughter a low, warm rumble against the city's hum. He saw Halmione's relentless work. One morning, instead of taking a conference call, he pulled a chair up to the kitchen table, commandeered a knife and a mountain of scallions, and said, "Emoni, teach me how to make the kimchi jjigae the way you do. The cafeteria in California is a crime against our ancestors." Halmione scoffed, but her eyes crinkled. She showed him, criticizing his uneven cuts with a fond sharpness. "Aigu, such hands for typing, but for a knife, useless." The steam from the stew pot fogged his designer glasses, and he smiled, truly smiled, for what felt like the first time. He pulled me, the quiet 9-year-old, into the narrative. "Come, Juna," he'd say, "your mother says you have a good eye. Help your rich uncle pick the best peaches at the market." At the bustling, noisy market, he was just another brother, another son. He haggled playfully with Ajumaz, insisting I tell him if the fruit smelled right. He bought me a paper cup of sike, sweet rice drink, and we sat on a curb watching the world go by. "The most important deals," he said, sipping his own drink, "aren't made in boardrooms. They're made here, in knowing the weight of a good peach and the smile of the woman who grew it." But the most profound shift was with Sujin. He didn't try to fix her, he simply made space for her to re-enter the world. He'd set up his laptop at the kitchen table and say, "I need a creative consult. This logo is ugly, make it less ugly." He'd drag her to the art supply store, filling a basket with paints and brushes she wouldn't buy for herself. He'd declare, "An investment in beauty, which is a necessary utility." One rainy afternoon, I found them in the living room. Sujin was painting at an easel, a wild, abstract explosion of stormy blues and defiant golds. Uncle Minjun was on the floor, assembling a complicated-looking Scandinavian bookshelf for her, muttering at the instructions. They weren't talking. The only sounds were the brush strokes, the click of shelf parts, and the rain on the windows. It was a perfect, peaceful duet. I saw then that his comfort wasn't in grand gestures, but in the dignity of accompaniment. He was saying, "I am here. Your art is important. Your space matters. We are building something together." The weeks turned into a month. The headline moment, the left bride, the millionaire brother, had dissolved entirely into the soup of our ordinary days. It was in the loud, chaotic weekend dinners where Uncle Minjun now knew to bring the good makjoli, and my father knew to grill the pork belly just right. It was in Harabaji, who had started teaching his eldest son, Jengi, Korean chess again, cackling when he won. It was in Halmoni, who now saved the choicest kimchi for Minjuna's bowl. The resilience wasn't in a dramatic comeback. It was in Sujin's first tentative laugh at the dinner table. It was in the way my father started talking about a new engineering project with his old passion, his voice buoyed by his brother's attentive listening. The belonging wasn't about blood, it was about Minjun finding his place not as a guest star, but as a cornerstone, the one who fixed the leaky faucet, remembered everyone's favorite snack, and whose presence felt, suddenly, essential. He left, of course. The valley called. But he left differently. The apartment felt not emptier, but fuller, imbued with a new warmth he had helped stoke. Sujin had started teaching art classes at a community center. My parents seemed lighter, their conversations laced with plans for a trip to Jeju, something they'd always postponed. Years later, when I was in university, Uncle Minjun moved his headquarters back to Seoul. The first thing he did was not host a gala, but organize a family camping trip. On the first night, as we sat around a crackling fire under a blanket of stars, Sujin, now a successful graphic designer, her confidence a quiet, steady flame, handed him a carefully wrapped tube. He unrolled it. It was the painting from that rainy afternoon long ago, the stormy blues and golds. She had titled it, in delicate hangul in the corner, J.C. Jock, A New Start. He looked at it, then at all of us, Halmoni and Harabaji, older but still fierce, my father proudly showing me how to rotate the roasting sweet potatoes, my mother laughing with Sujin. His eyes glistened in the firelight. "You know," he said, his voice rough but clear, "everyone got the story wrong that day. They thought I went to comfort the bride." He paused, rolling the painting carefully back up, holding it like a sacred scroll. "But she comforted me. You all did. I was the one who was lost. You brought me home with hotek and bad chess and perfect kimchi jjigae and the smell of paint." He reached over and squeezed my shoulder, and the wisdom of a 9-year-old on peach selection. We sat in comfortable silence, the fire popping, the night air cool on our faces. The tapestry of us was complex now, woven with threads of old sorrow, like Sujin's canceled wedding, and threads of quiet joy, like this shared fire. But the strongest thread, the golden one running through it all, was the one he had subtly respun, the thread of deliberate, everyday connection. It was in the meals shared, the small kindnesses of a prepared beer or a learned recipe, the hustle of life now underpinned by the unshakable knowledge that we were one another's first and final call. The universal truth our family learned was this: love is rarely about the dramatic rescue. It is about showing up day after day and choosing to fold yourself into the humble, beautiful hustle of ordinary life. It is about knowing that sometimes the most profound healing begins not with a vow at an altar, but with a shared street snack on a messy living room floor and the courage to build a new, more beautiful pattern together, one small, steadfast stitch at a time.